And there's the man of the hour. There's Will Dean. Hey, Will, how are you?
I'm really good. It's good to be with you guys. Thank you for setting this up.
Me
Thanks.
and Monica and I are so excited. I mean, we're both big fans, of course, of this amazing book. And Monica just finished it a couple of days ago. I finished it in February, but I think about it every day. So we're beyond excited to have you join us today. And I know the time difference because I believe it's what, 9 p.m. there?
Yeah, it is. I think the first suggestion you offered was like 3 in the morning with me, and I'm not that cool. I'm not that young. So
You're not that young. Yeah, I get it.
no.
I know. I was trying to do the math, and I couldn't figure it out. So of course, I had to get online and figure out exactly what the time difference was. But this time works out great. So we appreciate it. So what we'll do is I will introduce ourselves, and then of course we'll introduce you. Everybody knows you, but we'll introduce ourselves to the people that don't know us, and then we'll get to the good stuff. I'm Michael, and I live in South Carolina, in the USA, of course, and I Heart a Good Thriller is my page, and me and Monica have become friends over the past year or so, and now we're doing a lot of these, and we like to read the same stuff, which is great. So anyway, happy to be here, and I'll let Monica introduce herself.
So hi, I'm Monica. I'm Upstate Book Bitch. I live in upstate New York over here in the US. And I love thriller and horror and anything that's absolutely unhinged and going to make you not be able to sleep at night. So those are my favorite kind of books, and this did not disappoint.
It's funny, Will, when I was talking to her about this, I'm like, she's like, oh, I've got to read it. And I said, you need to read it right away. And of course, in like 3 days, she messaged me and told me how amazing it was, which I knew she would love it. But I was excited that she loved it as much as I did, which I knew she would. So
I'm
well,
just
look,
relieved. I'm relieved because this would be really awkward if you guys hated it. This would
we're
be
like,
very
oh.
tough.
I know I always worry about that a little bit when I recommend a book to a friend. I'm like, okay, I don't know if you'll like this one. I don't know, So I was excited that she liked it, and she's read several of your books as well, and so have I. So I was pretty confident that she was going to love it, and she did. So anyway, yeah, that would be a little awkward if all of a sudden we didn't like it.
We're doing reschedule.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll introduce Will for those who don't know Will. He's an award-winning author of over 10 novels. He grew up in East Midlands of the UK after studying law at the Law School of Economics. And working in London, he settled in Sweden where he built a wooden house in a forest with his wife, son, and dog Bernie, which we'll talk about the dog Bernie in a minute, the famous dog Bernie. His debut novel, Dark Places, was selected for Zobal's TV Book Club, shortlisted for National Book Awards, and was named Telegraph Book of the Year. He won the Capital Crime Independent Voice Award and Bert's Book of the Year Award. His books have been translated into over a dozen languages and has written 4 standalone novels, The Chamber, The Last Passenger, Firstborn, The Last Thing to Burn, along with many others, and of course, Adrift. So welcome, Will. We're so excited.
So
Did I miss
excited.
Thank you.
anything? What did I miss in that?
No, that was very generous of you, and it's good to be with you guys. Honestly, I live in the woods, deep in the remote forest in Sweden, so it's nice to have company. It's nice just to be able to see some friendly faces and be able to chat books.
Well, very nice. Well, actually, talking about living like your house in the forest, I follow you, of course, on Instagram. And the house that I see you on the front porch, is that where you live? You're on the front porch of it a lot, like a little.
You're trying to be very kind and diplomatic. It's like a shack. It's like a murder shack. It's like something from Deliverance. That's the truth of it. No, that's my writing shack. So that's like a hut. It's got a log burning stove and a bar and a desk.
Because I was sitting there
All you
thinking, how
need.
does he live there with his wife, his son, and the dog? And okay, whatever works. But I like it. I like it.
So that's where Bernie hangs out with me when I'm writing. He's kind of beside my desk snoring, and that's kind of the life I dreamed of, just a very quiet life in the woods.
Well, it looks
Wonderful.
amazing. Where's Bernie at now?
You know what? I would have loved to bring him in here, but we went for a trek earlier today in the woods, and he's soaking wet. It's like thunderstorms here. He had a lot of fun in a river, so he would just destroy this room. This is my guest cottage that we built, and he would destroy it. I would need to refurbish it, redecorate it if he was in here shaking.
Awesome.
So
Did you hear that, Monica? There's a guest house, so this is where
I
we'll be
know,
staying
right?
when we head to Sweden to visit.
you guys are very welcome. If you can find us, you can come.
Well, hey, we'll
We'll make the
figure out
trek.
something. Yeah. Awesome. Well, what we like to do usually, Will, is we kind of like just ask them like not silly questions, but just
What
kind of
about
questions
questions?
that book people just ask each other. So we'll just kind of go down them and just kind of rapid fire and just kind of see what see what your thoughts are. All right, you go first, Monica. I'll let you go
All
first.
right. The big question everybody wants to know is, what are you currently reading?
So I've just finished a book called Serenity Falls by C.J. Tudor.
Mm.
It's an
With the
arc.
ice
It's
cream
out.
truck on it.
Sorry.
It has an
Yeah,
ice cream
exactly.
truck on the cover. I love that.
It's such a great cover with that kind of ominous pink sky, and I loved it. I read it as an arc. I think it's out in September, and it's really like it gave me very much vintage 1980s Stephen King vibes.
Mm.
That's
So
exciting.
I enjoyed it very much. It's very good.
Very good.
Very cool.
Also, so speaking of books, do you prefer audio or physical book? Do you like to hold it in your hand?
I'm hooked on both, so I need both. I'm unhealthily I read a lot, so I need like a hardback by my bedside table. I need a hardback downstairs by my reading chair. I need an audiobook for when I'm in the truck driving through the woods in Sweden. I need the same maybe a non-fiction audiobook when I'm chopping wood. So I like to have 4 or 5 books on the go at any one time, and I really like audio. If the narrator is good, then I love audio.
Absolutely. I
So,
think me and Monica both are the same way there.
absolutely. Physical, ebook, audio. Got three going at least.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people they ask me how do I keep them all straight? Well, I watch different TV shows and I keep those straight. It's just,
Not
you
that
know,
different, yeah.
yeah, sometimes they blend together, but for the most part, I can keep them straight. But I'm the same
Yeah.
way. Awesome.
So speaking of audiobooks, controversial question. Do you think audiobooks are considered reading?
For me, that I mean, I think I'm reading a book when I'm listening to a great book, and I read the book first as an arc or as a paperback I find in a secondhand bookshop, and then 10 years later I'll listen to the audiobook and I'll get like a whole new dimension out of it.
Mm. Hmm.
So I read The Road by Cormac McCarthy, which is my favorite novel. I read that as a paperback, and then I went back and read the audiobook, and I probably listen to that audiobook like once every 2 years now.
Oh wow. Huh. We'll have to check that one out. So, do
Definitely.
you do you like to read series, or do you prefer like a standalone book, or a little bit of both?
I like both, but I think 90% of my reading is probably standalones. But occasionally I'll dip into like a James Lee Burke from the past,
Mm.
and I like getting back into a series for a few books. But I guess mostly it's standalones.
Very nice. Very nice. So,
So,
oh, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
The next one actually will be perfect because he'll talk about his writing cabin.
I
So
know,
I'll let
I was thinking this actually kind of goes along with the book, Adrift. Do you like to write in silence or music? Are you like Drew?
I don't know how anyone could write with music, honestly. Writers who write with music are so cool, so much cooler than me. If you're writing with Led Zeppelin in the background, then you're living the dream, but I can't do that. I write with the blinds pulled down. I write with earplugs in, Bernie close by, and for me, it's like I just want to be in a bubble so I can go back into my imagination and pretend I'm a kid again. That's what I'm doing when I'm writing. I'm pretending I'm a kid again with that really rich imagination that hasn't been like trampled over yet, and that pure imagination. I just want to go in there and enter into that world and do that world justice and those characters justice, so that hopefully they feel as real to you as they do to me.
Amazing. Well, and actually, piggybacking off that, when you read, do you need it to be silent, or can you go to a concert and read, or like go in the middle of somewhere and
Sports,
read?
yeah, whatever.
That's a good question. I mean, I like it pretty quiet, I guess, but like I don't mind if my kid is like doing something in the background and making a lot of noise, which he normally is. That's fine. Yeah, I don't. It doesn't need to be completely quiet, but like in a concert, no.
Yeah, it's like that would be a little
That
far.
I've
Yeah,
never done.
we go to a lot of football games here in the South, and of course, we go to a football game, and I'll look over, and there'll be somebody reading a book, and I'm like, how? I
Well,
don't know
that's
how that works.
me. That's me.
Yeah,
I
I was
take a
gonna say,
book
I
to,
thought you had done
yeah.
that. I guess if my team's not doing well, then of course I'll read a book. But
Or it's one of those books that you can't stop reading. Like you read one of those a year where you just have to see what happens on the next page. Then I get it. I get it.
yes, I get it. So now let me ask you this: do you believe in DNF in a book, or do you think you should go from beginning to end, even if it's just not gelling with you? Do you think you should finish it?
No.
No.
No, I mean, life's too short. There's too many amazing books out there that I'm never going to have time to read. So I think with books that I buy for myself, I probably abandon 20%.
Wow.
And then
That's
with books that I get sent, I'm really lucky. I get sent a lot of great books. I probably do not finish 90% of those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty brutal. I know within normally like 10 pages if it's for me or not. And if the voice is resonating and if it's like, if I'm connecting with it, and then if I'm not, on to the next one.
Yeah, life's
Good
too short.
advice.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. So Will Dean, he has said it. If life's too short, just move on. You heard it here.
So my next question, I don't know. Do you watch any shows? Do you have, like, are you into that out there?
Mm.
Do you get TV?
We do. We have some TV. Yeah. For the first 4 or 5 years we lived here, we didn't have any way to get TV. So then I just had like a nice DVD collection. And I really enjoyed that actually. It felt like I built a little version of a Blockbuster video store in my house. That was the only way we
Love
could
that.
watch stuff. It was fun. And then right now I'm watching, now we have what everybody else has. And right now I'm watching Widow's Bay
Ooh, yeah. Apple TV.
yeah, exactly, with my son and my wife. I like the Twin Peaks weirdness of it. And then I'm also watching True Detective Season 1 again as research for the next thing I'm about to write.
Well, that's exciting.
That is exciting.
We'll talk about that in a minute, hopefully. So what non-thriller genre do you like? Is there something else, another one that you kind of gravitate toward?
Yeah. I like reading like across all sorts of genres. So I like horror. I like literary fiction. I like some science fiction. I like speculative fiction a lot. Like things like Margaret Atwood, things like Children of Men by P.D. James. Really enjoyed that. Anything that's kind of set slightly in the future, but it's not hardcore science fiction, but it makes you think. I like that.
Nice.
Very cool. We're gonna have to check out that.
Yeah, I'm
Children of
making
Men.
notes over here as he talks. I'm
Good.
making notes of what I need.
So, who are some of your favorite thriller authors?
My favorite thriller authors. It's a hard one. There's so many. I am a big fan of Lisa Jewell. I like very much S.A. Cosby, everything he writes. I like Chris Whitaker's work very, very much. He's a good friend of mine. Liz Nugent is a fantastic Irish author, and she writes such great, dark, twisted characters. Really, really interesting characters. I like Ruth Ware's books. Ruth is always kind of reliably brilliant. Gillian Flynn. I wish Gillian Flynn would write another novel. I really do. She's been so successful that she hasn't, and she's obviously very busy with publishing and very busy with movie stuff. But I really want just another novel from her. She's so good. I think she's so good at plotting, but also, and obviously twists, but also just her prose is really cutting and really, really sharp. I love it.
Love that. Awesome.
Dennis Lehane as well. Sorry, Dennis Lehane.
Oh, yes.
Such a fan. Yeah.
Nice. It's funny you mentioned Lisa Jewell. I had the privilege. She was just here in the U.S. It was last week. So I got to meet her, and I was so nervous. I was like, but it was everything and then more. So we were happy to have her in the U.S. and get to meet her last week was a highlight of the week for sure. So yeah, she's one of
the queens. I'm glad you got to meet her. I saw your reel with the book and the seatbelt in the car.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because there was like 400 people at this event, and I wanted to make sure I had a chance to talk to her, and because we had talked on Instagram. So I waited in line for 4 hours at the back of the line so I could see her, and it was wonderful. Yeah, she's the queen, so that was amazing. Also,
and not only is she such a brilliant writer, but she's so generous to writers coming through, which I love. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we got one more question, and then we'll get to the good stuff. Do you read a book? Do you read like the blurb on the book before you start reading it, or do you just go in, pick it up, and go in blind, or do a little bit of both?
No, I don't really read anything. I don't read blurbs or quotes really, or what's on the back. I read the first line. Like, you need to hook me in the first line. It doesn't need to be like an explosion and a load of bodies on page one, but I need the voice. I need to feel like I have confidence in this writer, and you're going to lead me through the story by the hand, and I'm going to have a satisfying read. So I don't care about blurbs and marketing stuff. It's more like I'll know within a few lines if it's for me or not. So that's, and the first line especially, I think first lines are really, really important.
Yeah, the
I
first line in this was like, whew,
So good. I know. I went back
burning the
and read
butterflies.
parts of it, and I'm like, it's brilliant. Well, let's do that. Let's talk about the amazing book. Why don't you give us a description of the book in your words?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so Adrift is a really tense, claustrophobic thriller set on a canal boat in the middle of America. And it's about a family of three, father, son, and mother. And it starts off, and the son's having a hard time, and the mother's having a hard time, and you suddenly realize they're living with a monster. So the problem is that they can't get away from each other. The boat is extremely small, and Drew is a writer, and he thinks he's a very good writer. He takes himself very seriously, so he's unbearable to live with. And we soon find out that not only is he difficult to live with, but he's also gaslighting them. He's controlling. He's manipulative in really clever, devious, long-term ways. And I had this idea in my head, or rather, I had this image in my head of this boy, Samson, who's 14. He's getting bullied at school. It's winter time. You know how kids sometimes have like a school bag and it looks really heavy on their frame, full of bags, full of books. And I had this vision of this kid, this skinny kid, walking along the towpath of this canal, and it's raining and it's cold. He's had a really hard day, and he can't find his home because his dad keeps moving the boat further and further from civilization. That broke my heart, that image. And I was just like, I have to write these guys out of this situation.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean that's. I've never described it as good as that. I need to just record
Yeah,
that.
that was perfect.
I mean, so good. It really was a brilliant, and I know it touched my. It just when you read it, it just pulls at all the heartstrings,
Heartbreaking.
and you just can't stop reading. You just keep reading. I mean, it's brilliant. It's so good. Perfect description.
It kind of
You
felt,
kind of already. Oh, go ahead.
I just felt unbearably real to me. Some books I write and it's kind of a little bit of a fantastical element and it's a thrill ride and a roller coaster, and this one just felt like I was on that boat watching them, unable to kind of throw the dad in the canal, which is what I would have done, you know.
Yes.
And it was so tense for me writing it. I could feel the knot in my stomach, and I think that's when you know that it's probably working.
Yeah. Wow.
So I was going to say, you kind of already answered my next question, which was, where did the story idea come from? You said you just visualized it and you got it in your head, and
Yeah, I'm not good at plotting, and I'm not good at pantsing either. So I am good with, like, I think with just seeing things, seeing an image. So I saw this boat from above, and there was nothing else around. And I saw this boy who's very vulnerable and very strong at the same time, and this mom who would do anything to protect her son. And I instantly knew they were living with evil, and I just wanted to try and kind of outsmart him really, and find a way for them to get out of this situation.
Wow. Yeah. Let me ask you, why do you think this book touches so many people? And like, did you know it was going to touch people and be that powerful when you wrote it, or?
That's a good question. It's difficult to answer that without. It's difficult to answer that. I don't know. I think I just felt it in my gut and in my heart that I cared so much for those two characters. I hoped you would too. So when I got to the end of I rewrite a book about 12 times, and then I have to go through edits and copy edits. And every time at the end, I was just cut up. I was just destroyed, emotionally exhausted for what they've been through.
yeah.
And I think if you feel that after 12 rewrites, and you're sick of your own work after 12 rewrites, like it's not fun. It's not fun at all. Then I think you know that at least, even if the writing turns out to be terrible and there's a lot of problems with the book, at least the emotional undercurrent, like the core thread of the book on an emotional level, is there. So I felt that.
Yeah. Well, like the setting was so like isolating and like, I guess like mobile, like the fact that the boat could be moved further and further away. Like, why did you choose the riverboat as the location? Like, I mean, you said, you said you saw it? I mean, is that just, it just came to you because you saw it, or what?
Same with every book I write. I don't choose. Like, it's not a very conscious process. I wish I was more deliberate about it and like go away and brainstorm this great novel idea. No, I just kind of see a situation. I see a place that's very distinctive and some characters moving around in it, and I get a feeling of unease. And with this, I saw this tiny little boat, and the father at one end, who shaved his head every night and shaves every hair on his body, and he's sweating and he's writing and he's taking himself so seriously, and the mother at the other end of the boat trying to figure out how to protect her son. And then Samson, this boy who broke my heart every time I wrote him, in the middle of the boat, doesn't even have his own bed. He has like a converted dinette table that he sleeps on every night. And I knew that he dreaded going to school and he dreaded going home. And for a few years as a kid, I felt the same way. So I kind of knew viscerally what he was going through, and I wanted a good outcome for him.
Wow. I could just listen to you tell the stories about the book over and over. Just let him talk.
I heard somewhere that you wrote almost essentially two different stories because in the US version, the book takes place in the US, and the UK version, it takes place in the Midlands, close to where you grew up. So can you tell
This
us
is
more
something,
about that?
yeah, this is something I will never do again. Because I wrote two books. Like it's the same amount of work roughly as two books. So the story is essentially the same. The characters are the same, but like totally different locations. So the politics is different. The school systems are different. The mental health systems are different. So much extra research to write these two different settings. But as soon as I started to write for my American editor, do my US edits, I was like, this is a different family in a different place. It didn't feel right just to change like tap to faucet and path to sidewalk. Mostly that feels fine, and in future that's what I'll do. But for this one, it was like, no, this is different. These are actually going through some slightly different things. So now I've got a situation where I have quite a few readers who've read the American and the British version and kind of compared, or they've read the American version in the hardback and the British version on the audio book, which is kind of interesting.
I kind of want to do that now.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a thing until like a couple hours ago. Monica said, "Did you know?" And I'm like, "I had no idea." So that's
Yeah, it's
I'm
really
gonna,
cool.
yeah, we're gonna have to read the other one as well because I want to know both.
Definitely. So, did you have any hands-on research? Have you ever been on a canal boat? How did you know like how to write and how to feel that claustrophobia?
I never will step on one of those boats now after writing this book. They terrify me. No, I'm an imagination writer. Like honestly, I do a lot of research, and luckily I started writing this book. I had the idea in 2019. I started writing in like 2021. So it's been a long time gestating. And I started it off during COVID, so I couldn't step on a British narrowboat and an American canal boat. I couldn't do it, houseboat. So I'm fortunate in that on YouTube, a lot of people who like to live on boats like to talk about it and show everything. And those videos are not high production videos. They're not edited. They're warts and all. You see how difficult it is to deal with like the toilet situation and the water situation, the power situation. And that's the kind of stuff I needed, that gritty reality. So I watched an ungodly amount of hours of YouTube of people dealing with their boat problems. And then I just knew the boat so well, this particular fictional boat, that I could sit there and watch him typing in the evening and watch Samson listening to his Walkman, listening to the radio in the evening, and I could smell the different rooms, like the bathroom, the sliding door, and I could understand the dampness in the bedroom, and I just knew this boat so well, like it was my own home. And I normally visualize and think for about 6 months before I write a word. So every single day and every single night when I fall asleep, I'm on that boat just walking around checking and kind of understanding it.
It felt like we were there
It really
for
did.
sure.
I felt like
Sorry.
it felt like
Sorry.
we were walking
Sorry to
through
put you
it.
through that.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
It was. It was.
Are you claustrophobic? Like like a lot of your books, like The Chamber, and are you claustrophobic, or is that
No,
no?
not really. No, I'm interested in like a closed set just because I can go really deep into character.
Huh.
You know, if you've got a really open set and you're in 4 different countries, you're kind of superficially skimming through the character, which is fine. And a lot of those books are great. But what I like to go is really deep psychologically to understand the deep trauma and the deep history and what makes these people tick. That's what I really want.
Yes, love it. All right, let's see here. So I have two quotes. So it's really not a question. It's it's just two quotes that I wrote down months ago, and when I was going back through it the other day, I wrote down again. What I feel like sum up the whole book. The first one that really has stuck with me is he beat me on a daily basis without laying a hand on me. I don't even remember where that was in the book, but I just remember I wrote it down. I looked at my notes. I put it in my review, and I just remember that's what every time I think about the book, that quote to me kind of sums it up. It could be talking about the dad and the mom. You know, was that? Do you remember writing that quote or how that came about?
I do. I think it's a quote from the hospital that she's in the middle of the book, and it's actually like the doctors aren't really helping her. They're not quite believing her, so she feels like she's being gaslit by everybody and not being listened to. And it's one of the cleaners who's actually talking to her for a second and kind of has been through something similar. I think the cleaner said it actually about her history. But yeah, the idea of coercive control is so terrifying to me. The idea that someone can be messing with your head and controlling your actions and not allowing you to have the freedom that you deserve as an individual. And it's so common in relationships, and it's so common in families. And it happened a little bit in my family growing up, not to this extent. And I just find it terrifying. So that's why I like writing about it. I think it's like therapy. I write about what's scary. You know?
Yeah. Well, someone just commented in the thing. They said I wrote that quote down too. So it was a good quote. I love it. And then there was another quote, which I think was toward the beginning, was it says, there are certain decisions in life that determine which route you'll take at an intersection, and this is one of them. Like, that was another one that was just like, okay, an event basically helps you make your decision. You know, do you remember writing that one? Was that?
Yeah, I think I remember every word of the book, honestly, because my writing process is so inefficient and tortuous and ridiculous that I remember every word. Yeah, it's and I think those we all have those decisions through our life. You know, there's maybe a few times in our life that there's like an intersection, and you choose left or you choose right, and it has consequences. And for sure, Samson, the boy, does that in this book, and so does Peggy. And I wanted them to make the right choices, and I didn't know if they would. Like, I didn't know the ending, I didn't know the middle, so I wanted them to make good choices for each other, and they'll do anything for each other.
That actually is, I don't even know if that was one of our questions, but so you're just, so when you sat down, you didn't know, we're not going to give away the ending, but you didn't know how it was going to be finish up. Is that kind of the?
Not exactly. I knew the vibe, and like, I don't want to leave anybody with no hope, any reader with no hope. It needs to have a hopeful ending, but it's also going to be messy and difficult and emotional and tough. So I know in vague terms, like I see it in the distance, the ending, and I see it in a kind of a hazy, vague way, but I don't have any clarity on it when I'm writing.
So it's a journey for you as well, as you're writing.
It is actually. I mean, I write the first draft in like 4 weeks.
Wow.
And so it's very intense and emotional, and by the end I'm just exhausted. And then I lock it away in a drawer for like 6 months, often 4 to 6 months, and then when I read it for the first time, it's like reading somebody else's book. I don't really remember any of it. Yeah.
So cool. So let me ask you this. So how did you get into the head of like a horrible father, a loving mother, and a kid that was being bullied? Like how did you write them so well and get into their frame of mind when you were writing their parts?
I just spent a lot of time with them. You know, by the time I've spent 6 months every day thinking about them in different situations, thinking about Samson at school and his friend that he eventually makes, Paul Pricklet, and the way he interacts with Mr. Turner, and later on with Phoenix and Peggy, I just knew them so well. I knew them better than I do some of my friends. So and they felt real, they felt three-dimensional and flawed. So it never feels like a stretch to get inside their head, because I feel like I know them and I care about them. I have to care about them to start writing. If I've got a character and they're floating around, I don't really know who they are, and I don't really care about them, I'm not going to write them. But from a personal perspective, in my childhood, I had a pretty chaotic, wild childhood for a few years there. And we moved house like 10, 11 times. We had like bailiffs and and debt people after us, and it was very odd changing school. And my dad, it was a difficult character. He wasn't a Drew. He wasn't a terrible character, but he was a complicated guy who went through a lot in his childhood. So, and my mum was like pure goodness, like Peggy, very similar to Peggy actually. And I was bullied for a while in school, so there's a lot of like things that I could draw upon. And I just wanted Peggy and Samson to be okay. I love this scene. There's a scene where Drew goes off to the next boat quite early on, and there's a song that comes on the radio. It's set in the 90s, so there's a lot of good 90s music, and they just kind of dance. They just feel safe for 10 minutes. They feel safe.
I love that scene.
There. Me too. Yeah, I just felt like they needed that moment.
Yeah, and it was a nice. You felt the relief for the 10 minutes. Yeah. They definitely.
And then he came back and.
Yeah.
Oh, he made me so angry.
I know, he was awful.
Oh, but all right.
So I loved how the library felt like such a safe space for Peggy. Was it a conscious choice for you to use this warm community as a direct contrast to the darkness of the suffocating and isolated life on the boat?
I just felt like in places it's such a dark, bleak book that I needed all these moments of light. I needed humor for Samson from his friends. I needed a pleasant teacher just to check on him, you know, and I needed this girlfriend that he makes. I really needed her to give him this excitement, this bit of relief and a bit of escapism, and I needed the library. So it just came very naturally. When I was a kid, we moved around, as I said, and my family were not readers. We had no books in the house at all. But my mom, bless her, would take me to the local library whenever I wanted to. And I was the only reader. I was like the black sheep of the family, and I took out as many books as I could. I was reading Stephen King, aged like 11. She didn't have a clue what I was reading. She probably wouldn't have allowed it. And so the library for me was a real sanctuary. And I think I felt that for her, she needed that. She needed Mrs. Appleby. Just as a kind of a mother figure. She needed she even needed like the really vulnerable people who just come in to get warm for a minute and read. She needed some sense of safety and sense of a place where she went every day. And then I hated it when Drew started interfering with that, you know, waiting outside and questioning what she was doing. And yeah, she needed that place. She really did. Libraries are amazing.
Sanctuary.
Yeah, and that was funny because that was kind of the part of the next question. Like, why do you think the people off the boat were so important to Peggy and Samson? Like, why was it so important to have them? Obviously, I mean, you just kind of said it, but it was refreshing for us as a reader to see those moments. So,
I think in real life, if you're going through a hard time, you need these everyday quiet community heroes. The kind of people, they don't get paid a lot, they don't receive a medal, but they're saving lives, and you don't even realize it. They don't realize it. That happened when I was growing up. Just everyday local heroes, you know, a neighbor checking in on you, someone bringing you around some food. That's what holds communities together. It really is. And my son is very lucky. He's living a very content, peaceful, happy life. He doesn't need those people. He has them in the form of uncles and great teachers. He doesn't need them. He has them. I'm really glad he has them. He doesn't need them. I needed them. My aunt's dad was a farmer when I grew up. And at one point when I was about 13, going through a really hard time, he took me fishing. And this was a guy, he had a big grizzly beard. He never spoke to anybody, including me on this fishing trip. But he took me fishing for one evening, and we just sat there on a lake and fished. And I will never forget it, because he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to take some kid out fishing, but he did it because my mom probably asked him to. It kind of probably saved me for that week, you know? So I love writing these characters, these side characters. I think they're so important in our lives.
It is interesting how a moment like that from your childhood that really at the moment was nothing big. It's like you remember that moment.
What you were wearing. Core memory.
Right. You remember what you were wearing, the weather, the something they, I mean, it is kind of weird how that.
Sometimes they just walk in.
It really is. It really is. Let's see.
So speaking about Peggy and her in the library, so her first real escape from Drew and her miserable life was reading and writing her own book. Did you choose that on purpose to have her fight back in her mind and like creativity versus like a physical, she didn't fight back physically. She fought back by, writing her book. Was that on
That's
purpose?
true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's an interesting point because he doesn't really fight her physically, and she doesn't fight back physically. It's all done in different ways, done with words and with other deeds. And I think I've seen, this is just a generalization, but I've seen a lot of men writers take themselves extremely seriously. There's a lot of egos, a lot of pride. They think they're writing the next great American novel. And I have a lot of friends who are women writers who don't ever like big themselves up enough, who are extremely talented, more talented than the guy I just mentioned. And they tend to write like an hour here and an hour there before a shift or when their kids are having dinner, and they write better than the other person. So I've seen this time and time again. It's not everybody, obviously, but I've seen this trend. So I just wanted to write this guy who takes himself extremely seriously, only reads Hemingway, which is a massive red flag straight away. And he's sure that he's brilliant and that all of the editors and agents are wrong. That happens. There's a lot of these people. And she is like, well, I've written something. It's probably not going to do anything. It's probably no good, but I'll send it out. And actually, she has genuine talent. So I just like that juxtaposition that, yeah, like you said, she probably started writing to escape. And because she just likes writing, she likes reading. But actually, she has talent. She never thought she did.
Did we find out what the title of her book was? Was that ever?
No.
No.
There's some things I have to leave out. I mean,
There's a whole wormhole here.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 years from now you can release it. Her book.
Maybe. I mean, the amount of things that I have to cut or just I know I shouldn't write, that I know in great detail in my head, are huge. Because this book could have been 3 times longer and it would have been unbearable. Because it's too tense and it's too bleak. Yeah. So I needed to balance out the humor and the warmth and the musical references from the 90s and the food references. I needed to balance that out. So
yes,
I had to make some cuts, yeah.
I get it. Well, look, so I always, when I'm reading, my wife laughs at me because when I close a book, if I'm in the middle of a book and I close it and sit it down, I go about my business. But when I finish the actual book, I close it. She says I close it differently when I'm finished with the book. And then she says I like stare off into space, and she kind of laughs at me. She's always taking a picture of me, just kind of like, I'm trying to go over the whole thing. And this one, I remember when I closed it thinking, like all the things we said earlier, it just touched me. It gave me chills, all the things. What do you want people to feel when they close, I guess any of your books, but especially this one? What do you want them to feel when they close that last and they stare off into space?
With this book, more than any other, I've received a lot of letters and emails and DMs and messages and voice notes even. And a lot of them, it's because that reader lived through something similar to Samson at some point, some kind of bully. And a lot of them, they lived through something similar to Peggy, some kind of difficult relationship. And a lot of them, they didn't live through it themselves, but their sister did, their best friend did. So most people can relate really, really strongly to that kind of journey. And the thing that they liked at the end, and the thing that I wanted to achieve, was the idea of hope. If you can there's some light on the other side of that situation. You can get through it, and there is hope. And that's what I wanted to leave readers with, that a lot of bad things happen in this book, but there is light and beauty and hope and love at the end.
That's brilliant. I love that.
Brilliant, absolutely.
So I think readers want to know what's next for you, Will.
So the next book will be out next summer, and it's called, I don't know if I should even tell you the title. I don't know if it's been announced yet, but I'll tell you it. I'll give you an exclusive.
We won't tell anybody. We won't tell anybody.
It's called The Light at the End of the World.
Ooh.
And it's a speculative thriller, so it's set 60 years from now.
Oh.
And like all of my thrillers, it's about family, and it's about friendship, and it's about trust and betrayal and sacrifice, and it's very emotional. But it's set in London and in the States 60 years from now. So it's me trying to imagine what life might be like. And it's a kind of like a survival story. And it questions like, what are we building right now for ourselves and for our future and for our children's future in terms of AI and AGI? What are we doing?
That's
Well, I can't wait.
intriguing.
I can't wait. I'm reading some of the comments, and somebody said we won't tell, and then somebody says I can't wait. Somebody said sold. So yeah, so next summer you said. So we'll definitely be on the lookout for that.
We will
'Cause
be watching for that for sure.
oh,
I
I
do
can't.
have a question from earlier. Somebody wanted to know what pantsing was. Could you explain it for us?
Say that again, please.
Somebody wanted to know what pantsing is earlier when you said that.
Oh, okay, that's a good question. So a lot of people talk about plotting versus pantsing, and plotters are kind of like J.K. Rowling or someone like that who has a huge spreadsheet or a huge chart, and they know every beat in every scene in every act of the book, and it's all very, very deliberately planned out for pacing. And then pantsing is like writing by the seat of your pants, as in you have no idea what you're doing, and you write the first line and you go with it. And I find both of these kind of terrifying. So I'm not in either of those two main categories. I'm just a visualizer. So I see the story like a movie, and then I have the confidence to think that I can try and write it down.
Well, and actually, when you just said movie, that like this, tell me
That
about
would
like
be
this
such a
cover.
movie.
Was this always the cover, always the name? What like did that change? Because to me, the cover is what brought me when I was at the bookstore and I
So
saw it.
beautiful.
I'm getting this. So that
It's
sold
so
it to me.
beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
So beautiful.
I'm very,
So
very
beautiful.
lucky. Very, very lucky with my publisher. So the title was a joint effort, I think, between my US publisher, my UK publisher, my agent, me. But I think my US publicist, Megan, actually came up with the title. I think it's a brilliant title. And the cover, they're just an amazing design team. And this was one of their first designs. And when they sent it through, I was like, I love it so much. I love the ominous sky and the fact that you can kind of see the canal turning a bend and like what's in the future, what are they moving towards. So yeah, I'm so lucky with them. Emily Bessler and Atria are fantastic.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's wonderful. Actually, hold it up again. So what we'll do is we'll take a picture. We always do
And
it
so we
so
can
fast.
use this as our cover for the live.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, perfect. Awesome, awesome. Well, look, Will, this has been
Thank you
absolutely.
so much.
Yeah, I mean, this is like made. I mean, we've been so excited about it. It's like made our week, and just it's been wonderful, and we
Such a
appreciate it.
pleasure.
And we can't wait to see what's next. And we hope maybe we can do this again next summer when Bernie can join us, and we have the new book and all that good stuff.
Let's
Or if
do
you ever
this
want to
again,
talk
and
about your
hopefully,
backlog, because
Oh
I
yeah, we
love
can talk about.
Last Thing to Burn. Oh my gosh, that book. I mean, it's very similar to this style, and oof, that one for me.
I just
thank
finished
you.
Firstborn, and that one was amazing as well. Yeah, so I mean, they're all good. Slowly working my way through them, but we'll definitely. By the time we see you next time, we'll have finished them all, and we can talk about all of them.
Well, thanks for this conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. We'll do this again for sure next summer,
Absolutely.
and also
That's
hopefully I'll
awesome.
see you guys when I'm touring the States.
Yes, please come to
Please
the
come.
States.
Yes, come to New
Yeah.
We'll be,
York.
yes, we'll be there. Awesome. Well, look, y'all have a great day and have a good night. Since it's bedtime, we're gonna go eat dinner. All
Okay.
right, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Y'all have a good one. See
Bye.